How do everybody? I have got an absolute banger of a story here. We are talking about an absolute mega nonce, and this story is going to exemplify just how much of a clown show the judiciary and the legal and punishment system in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland actually is. Sit down, buckle up, because we are going to have one heck of a ride. Ex-doctor who collected images of babies being raped has walked free from court. That is absolutely disgusting. Straight to the point. I'm not going to mince my words. This man, in my opinion, should be shot. And you might say, Dave, why should he be shot? Yes, he's a nonce. Yes, he's engaging in disgusting activities, but he's not actually touching them kids. Well, to you, if I could see you, if you were saying that to my face, I would smack you across your face. And I literally mean that. I am not just saying it. I would actually backhand you, because this man is engaging in an activity which has resulted in actual children being raped. And he is encouraging that to continue to happen. He's feeding into that industry. So you are correct if you're thinking that no, he may not actually have touched any children, but he is still a major contributing factor to it happening. Each and every single one of those children is a victim of a pervert. And those people also need shooting. They're sick, disgusting animals. He's not a human being. He is an animal, and he needs putting down because he's a dangerous one at that. I'm not even saying in my opinion. I'm stating that as a fact. I'll say that in court. I don't give a, excuse me language, but I don't give an actual shit. I do apologise for the language. I don't like to swear on my videos, but I hate paedophiles. I absolutely hate paedophiles. A disgraced doctor who collected revolting pictures of babies being raped has walked free from court despite being caught a second time. A second time. Sorry, this is the first time I've read through this article. A second time. So it's not, that is the actual state of our legal system. Walking out of court, he's a repeat offender. He's a mega nonce. Like, this man actually needs shooting. The judge also needs flogging as well, in my opinion. What an absolute tosser of a judge. Sorry again for the language, but what a joke. What an absolute joke of a legal system we have. A raid at Michael Jones's home in August 2022 uncovered a sickening stash of indecent images of children aged as young as only a few weeks old, as well as photographs showing men and women having sex with dogs. Liverpool Crown Court heard on Thursday. Well, I mean, if you're gonna go for children, I mean, why not go for dogs as well? I mean, you've already crossed the threshold, haven't you, of indecent behaviour and unacceptable behaviour. So go the whole hog in it, you know. Might as well get a bit of necrophilia in there as well while you're at it. These people are sick. They are actually sick in the head, and there is no rehabilitating them at all. And the literal only solution for these people is to shoot them. And I know people might think, well, surely you can articulate better arguments than that or something. No, absolutely not. Line them against the wall, give them a blindfold, bang, one in the head. I'll do the first one myself if people are concerned about me wanting to put other people through that and not being willing to do it myself. I'm a veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan. I will gladly put sick creatures down like this for a living if it needs to be done. I do not care. These serve no purpose in our society as far as I'm concerned. Absolute oxygen thief, and I'm ashamed to potentially walk the same streets that this filth has walked on, because this is in England as well, where I live, the north of England as well. The 44-year-old previously lost his career as a junior doctor when he was hauled before the court in 2008 for distributing indecent images of children, reports the Liverpool Echo, and there's a hyperlink there. So I will put the description for this article, the link for this article in the description below. Visit this yourself, check it out, obviously, but there's the hyperlink there to that story if you're curious about that. I may do that tomorrow, that story. The court heard that Jones's home was raided by the police on August 10th, 2022, following online communications with undercover officers. Well, you know what? Hats off to them officers for that. You know, I've said I do negatively speak about the police quite a lot. And a lot of that actually comes from the fact that I've had family members who've been in the police, including an uncle of mine who sadly passed away, but many, many years ago. He was a sergeant when he died. So I do have an actual spot in my heart for the police, you know, and I was considering joining the police when I left the army. So it's not that I despise or hate the police. It's just that I have a very, very high expectation, a threshold of what I think is the police should be engaging in, which is why I'm very critical of them, because I do find recently they are falling subpar far too regularly for my liking. But for these officers who do this job, this is a horrible, horrible job, and this is why I ended up not joining the police, because I, hand on my heart, I know my limitations, and I could not turn up to a house where somebody has been diddling kids, obviously. And I'm talking where it's absolutely black and white. There's, you walk in, you catch the guy with his pants down, and he's in the action with a child, let's say, just for the ease of understanding, so there's no grey area in what I'm saying. I would absolutely beat that man to within an inch of his life, and then I'd throw him to the mob outside, and I would absolutely have zero shame in doing that, and I wouldn't care. And as a police officer, you can't do that, I'm afraid. So that is why I ended up not becoming a police officer, because or if I turned up to a domestic situation where some bloke had knocked seven shades of, out of his wife or his girlfriend or whoever, or even his boyfriend, whatever, I couldn't not lay hands on that person myself, because unfortunately I'm just that sort of a person. That type of it. I hate bullies. I hate bullies, and I hate predators. They absolutely disgust me. Yeah, so communications with undercover officers. Jones of Longmeadow Road in Knowsley Village was said to have unwittingly discussed an intention to meet a child in these messages, but was not charged with any criminal offence in relation to the chats. But Andrew McInnes, prosecuting, described how a search of the address saw a number of electronic devices seized in his bedroom. These included an iPad which contained 19 Category A indecent images of children, those showing the most serious forms of abuse, as well as 16 in Category B and 6 in Category C. I don't actually know what would be classed as Cat A, B, or C. To be honest with you, I don't actually want to know. I'm a very, very generally curious person, and I love learning and finding out new things. But when it comes to this, I'd just rather not know. I accept that they're saying that Cat A is the worst category. That's as far as I want to know. I don't want to know any more than that, really. I really, really don't. It would anger me. I'm afraid it would anger me a lot, and I don't want to get angry. But anyway, some depicted penetrative sexual activity with infants. Mike, that is absolutely disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting. A total of 318 extreme pornographic images involving males and females engaged in penetrative sexual activity with dogs were also found on the tablet computer. This is just an absolute disgusting human being. Under interview, Jones claimed that his conversations with undercover police had been fantasy and invention, and stated that his iPad did not have any illegal content. He was then quizzed for a second time after the device had been examined, and accepted that he had an issue with it's not just an issue with pornography. That you could go on, say somebody's going onto a porn. I mean, using porn regularly is having a problem with pornography. I mean, you shouldn't really use porn, but in the same way you shouldn't drink coffee or you shouldn't drink alcohol. But people do. I'm not perfect myself. I make mistakes. I'm not trying to cast judgment onto other people. Well, like if you're on, say, using pornography every night, you've got an issue with porn. That's having an issue with pornography. Or if you're at work and you're habitually browsing pornography, that's having an issue with pornography. Looking at this sort of stuff isn't having an issue with pornography. That's like comparing somebody who's smoking cannabis, maybe at night, saying, mate, you got a bit of an issue there with your drugs. Maybe you need to slow it down a bit. And then somebody who's a full-blown heroin or meth addict or crack addict, it's a bit different. They're not comparable. Somebody smoking a joint and somebody chasing the dragon, not the same thing. And it's the same with this. Somebody getting off on, I don't know, women having 4 blokes at the same time. Well, I don't know, whatever. That's having a bit of an issue with pornography. But this man is doing, that is disgusting. This is a broken, irreparable human. This is a human being whose mind is totally it's like a full-blown car insurance write-off. There's nothing that can be done with this person at all, other than putting them down for the sake of themselves and everybody else. But denied having sexual interest. How can you watch this stuff and not have an actual interest in them? I can't get my head around that. Why you would actually say that? That's like walking into a shop and filling your pockets with, shoplifting with whatever, and saying, "But I don't have an interest in theft. I just like filling my pockets with this stuff." It's like, but you're actually stealing by doing that. You know, you're engaged in the action of it. So that is clearly what you're into. Instead, saying that his use of pornography increased during lockdown and that he would like assistance. Well, it's not. Well, yeah, I don't doubt it increased during lockdown, but it's not new to him, is it? He's got a pattern of behaviour here going all the way back to the early 2000s when he was struck off as a junior doctor. Well, I like this line here, what the papers put. The pervert, that is absolutely correct language used there. The pervert was previously convicted in 14 counts of distributing indecent images of children in October 2008. So he has got an active interest in children because he's engaged in distributing the stuff as well. This saw Jones sentenced to 16 months in prison in January 2009 and ordered to sign the sex offenders register for 10 years. He just needs putting down. Martine Snowden, defending, told the court that her client admitted having an obsession with pornography and sought the assistance of Lucy Faithful Foundation, a charity which works to prevent child sexual abuse. See, this is also a problem, is these individuals like this who are saying these people can be rehabilitated or mentored out of it. No, they can't. And these are weak individuals who probably are motivated by altruism. You know, they're probably really good people, but unfortunately, they project their own worldview and mindset onto everybody else, and they are wrong. They are. It's like when you see hippies talking about, oh, maybe if we just got rid of the armies, there'd be no war in the world. It's like you're too stupid to realise what you're actually seeing. It's the same with these sorts of people. You can't rehabilitate them. You can't. And even if you can, it's not worth the risk, because what is the consequences of the rehabilitation not working? The risk versus reward is too great and too much weight on the risk side, I'm afraid. They need putting down. She added, he is now a mature man who, absent in his life of whatever it is that drives him to use illegal imagery, is otherwise intelligent and would otherwise have had a promising future in his life. See, that is taking away the man's free agency and his own personal accountability for his actions and lifestyle choices. And I don't buy it. It's just absolute obfuscating crap by professionals who are wielding words as a weapon. They're using linguistic weapons, and it's disgusting. His life has never been what it could have been because of that. Well, that's his own fault. We are more than 12 years on from his release from that sentence in 2009 to his commencement and the commission of these offences. And I genuinely don't care about the reasons for it. The fact of the matter is this man has a habit of engaging in indecent imagery of children. That is all I care about. I couldn't care less about his reasonings for it. In fact, trying to make excuses for it is worse in some regards than the actual crime itself, because you're trying to justify the crime, in effect. You know, it's shocking. These people who make excuses for these nonces are just as bad as the nonces. In that time, he was left on his own devices to try and not commit offences again. I don't really care. Perhaps part of the deterrent was just how traumatic his custodial experience. No, you're making excuses for it, and you need a smack across the face for coming out with that crap. Honestly, these people need their mouths washing out with soap and water. You know, and if they repeat the words again, smack them around the side of the head until they start retracting the words and realising. Because unfortunately, force is the ultimate arbiter of control and truth, unfortunately. You know, I just can't. Right now, I'm that frustrated by this story. I can't actually articulate what I've got in my head to try and say against these people. I'm going like into an almost autistic meltdown right now because of this. It's making like my brain lock up. I can't get the word. I've got it here and I can't get the words out of my mouth. It's winding me up that much. It is something he very much recognises is a problem, and he wants to help. Well, through it, I can't say what I want to say because it's actually a crime in this country. What I feel he should do. Unfortunately, I could actually get arrested for saying what I think he should do. I'm sure you will know what I think this man should do. He should help us. He should help us in making less paedophiles in the world. He has taken some considerable steps to do that himself. I don't care. He readily accepts he has an unhealthy addiction to porn. No, he doesn't have an addiction to pornography. He's just an absolute nonsense, a pervert. He just needs to not exist anymore, in my opinion. And he has used that in times of need. I'm going to have to stop reading this. I'm about halfway through it. I'm about halfway through this story, and I actually feel like I'm going to have a brain aneurysm from it. I hate it. I hate that human being. I actually think we should make killing pedos great again. It should actually be I do not have a problem, and I'm not really for vigilante action, and I'm not promoting people take vigilante action. However, I would not be offended if I read in the newspapers that vigilante mobs were forming and lynching paedophiles from trees. I genuinely would not care less. I really couldn't. I just like, yeah, that's like, I'm okay with that. That's that's fine. I would just carry on drinking my cup of tea and eating some biscuits. That would be no problem whatsoever. I'm going to leave that story now, as I said, because I can't keep reading that. It's honestly, it's just really, really winding me. I can actually feel pressure in my head from it. Um, I'm lost for words. I'm just absolutely lost for words by that. Absolutely disgusted by that individual. And I know I've said it about a million times now. He needs shooting. He needs flogging. He needs shooting, and his body needs burning. So there's nothing left of him afterwards. Throw him into Drax power plant. For those of you who don't know, that's a wood burning power plant in the United Kingdom. Throw him into Drax so he can at least be put to some use as a form of a few watts of energy back into the power grid. That's really it. If you found that informative, I can't say you've enjoyed it. I've not enjoyed it anyway. But if you've at least found that informative, or it's highlighted a problem in our society, the absolute clown show that we live in, please like, subscribe, put a comment below. I do like reading people's comments, and I do try to message back to people as well. Thank you very much. Bye bye.